just as popular with adults, most of whom don't get home until 5:30. Yours, in anticipation, 26 office clerks.
We beg you to reconsider and return the Magic Roundabout to its original time. Yours faithfully, 100 Angry Draftsmen. Average age, 23.
A few weeks later, Junior Points of View launched a Magic Roundabout arts competition. Within a fortnight, 100,000 entries arrived in the post, prompting the arts programme Late Night Lineup to take note.
Those are some of the 100,000 entries for the Magic Roundabout competition, which ended early in December, and the results were announced in Junior Points of View last week. Children were invited to send in drawings, models, paintings, anything in fact that reminded them of the characters in the Magic Roundabout.
Late Night Lineup invited Serge Dano over from France to discuss the amazing success of his series. Serge brought along his colleague and translator, Jean-Michel Biard, who says neither of them realized it was an arts program.
I thought it was something like news, for us. Honestly, we had no idea. Nobody told us,
Can I ask you how popular this program is in France?
Certainly, it has been a tremendous success. About 2 years, I'm sorry, I'm speaking very bad English, but 2 years ago it was a best success in France for children program, I mean. And we made 250 different 5 minutes.
Was it immediately successful? I mean, how long did it run before it gathered strength?
Est-ce que ça a démarré tout de suite, le succès?
Oui, tout de suite.
All of a sudden, within a couple of weeks, very quickly.
With which age group now is it most popular?
Quel groupe d'âge à peu près?
Oh, mon Dieu, de 7 à 77
From
ans.
7 to 77.
Did you deliberately create it to appeal to adults?
Est-ce que tu as créé ça pour les adultes ou au contraire?
Eh bien, j'ai voulu faire un programme pour les enfants et un programme qui n'ennuyait pas les parents, tout simplement.
He wanted to make a program for children, but at the same time for grown-ups too.
But did its popularity with adults, it's tremendously popular with adults over
Yes.
here, did that surprise you?
Yes, it is. Yes, we've been very surprised anyway in France and in all the countries where the program is telecast now. It's the same thing.
And which other countries is it shown?
Oh, it's in Germany, in Portugal, in Canada, in Belgium, Switzerland. Well, it's in Spain, Italy, and now we're going to go to the United States.
Now, each country has its own names for the characters.
That's right.
It?
Yes.
Now, the French name. What are the French names?
Alors les noms français.
Pollux.
Pollux for Dougal.
Margot.
For Florence.
Zébulon.
For Zebedee.
Pour Zébédée. Le Père Pivoine.
For Mr. Rusty.
Et je crois que ce sont les seuls que les spectateurs ont lu.
And Ambroise.
Ambroise, c'est l'escargot.
For Brian.
For Brian.
Yes. Can I tell you something about the French reaction about the Dougal name? Je racontais l'histoire, tu sais, de Dougal. We all thought that when you spoke of Dougal, we were very afraid about our ministry, our foreign ministry, and we thought it was Mr. de Gaulle, the president, and yes, we were afraid about that, but it's all right.
Of course, it wasn't only adults who watched the Magic Roundabout. Children enjoyed it too, and were glued to their televisions at the very mention of its name.
One of my favourite television programmes is the Magic Roundabout, and I expect to remember when I made this Dougal a little while ago. I made him by using a plastic detergent bottle for his body and covering it with wool for the hair. And then a little later on, I made a different Dougal, this time one that you could eat, using a Swiss roll for his body. But of course there are other important characters in the Magic Roundabout stories, and one of them is Brian, the Magic Roundabout snail. There's Zebedee, and there's Florence as well. And another Dougal I've got here is this time a glove puppet.
The original puppets had been made in haste from anything that was to hand, so reproductions were easily made with materials available in the average household.
It was part of the culture of the times. It was post-war, really, relatively. Children didn't have the disposable income that they have today. But what we did have was this great mass of stuff. We had loo rolls, we had bits of fur, we had cotton reels, we had all the things in the mother's work basket that you could utilise. These were things that were around the house. It wasn't beyond the bounds of possibility that you could get together the bits and pieces that Valerie said you needed. A ping pong ball for Dougal's head, a bit of fur to make the coat for Dougal. You could find these things and you could have a go at doing it.
And on the bottom here, a piece of card. And this stops the body from rolling over. It holds it nice and firmly in place. This bends up like that. And on the inside of the head here, you'll see there's a little hole, and put some glue round here, the inside of the neck, like that. That pushes up into there, and the felt, of course, will stick onto the glue on the inside, and there you've got the body. And a little piece of felt ties round here. This is about 1/2 inch wide and about 6 inches long. And this is a very good way of covering up the neck, and of course it makes a scarf. You can just fringe the ends. And finally, the shell on the back is done with an ordinary ball like this. But I've actually cut out a tiny little hole from the bottom, and I'm going to stick that on the bottom. But first I'm just going to draw a squirrely design like that, right the way around there, and that gives you the effect of the shell. And a little bit of glue onto the bottom, like that. That sticks on the back there, and then you'll probably find you have to leave that somewhere very nice and firmly to dry until, of course, you've got it nice and firmly stuck on that one. And there you've got another character to add to your Magic Roundabout characters. There's Florence and there's Dougal, and I think you might have great fun making that.
We did. And viewers responded by sending yet more examples of homemade art through the post.
This Dougal's got a cardboard face, and his fur is as hard as stone. But the interesting thing about this Dougal is that it's actually a lump of coral. It's about the largest lump of coral that I think I've ever seen.
These characters here from the Magic Roundabout, believe it or not, have all been crocheted. They stand about 5 inches tall, and the strange tale behind them is that they've all been crocheted by a man, Mr. Mingay from Bedford. Mr. Mingay has been crocheting now for nigh on 20 years, but it was only when he began to crochet a cushion that he thought about doing the characters for the Magic Roundabout. He'd just started the centre of the cushion when on the television came the Magic Roundabout. So I really suppose it really began with Brian, because the centre of his cushion looked very much like the shell.